What does depression really feel like? Unfortunately, I'm a high-level expert on that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal story with depression and then give you 7 things to consider to check yourself to see if you're dealing with it. And then I'm going to take you through a short clearing for depression because I'm an expert now at healing it. My depression is in remission. I no longer am struggling, suffering, and in the demise of this overwhelming experience. I'm Carol Tuttle. I'm an expert in healing, and I want to help you improve the quality of your life. I'm a best-selling author. This is a recent book I published, Mastering Affluence. As I've gone through my life in this process of healing, I've learned what is required of us in the role of healing those compromises we carry, that we tend to come up through our cultures and say the answers are outside of us. If I can just find the right thing to fix this, I'm going to be fine. What I learned was the greatest powers were within us, that we had God-given powers of healing. And I teach you how to tap into those to create affluence in all areas of your life. In today's topic of depression, my 2 sections on mental affluence and emotional affluence have very important tools and skills for you to apply to help you heal depression, because you can. Because I had severe depression. I didn't just have here, it's a bad day, I'm in a slump. It wasn't postpartum depression. It was full on depression. It was actually not until in my adult years, in my later adult years, that I was actually diagnosed with chronic minor OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder, depression, and anxiety. And the psychologist I worked with at the Amen Clinic, Dr. Daniel Amen, he would be my, he's the go-to. I recommend my students and followers to turn to learn about the brain health side of this, that you have many compromises in your brain. He likes to speak to it as that organ in your body, its health is not optimal, rather than a mental illness, and kind of take the morality plague off it that we've come up with through generations, that it doesn't make you less of a human, that you have an issue with your brain, just like you might with another organ in your body. And so as you accept that and understand, I've got a part of my body that's not functioning optimally. And so from my schooling and working with the doctors from the Amen Clinic, I learned that my brain wasn't working properly. Now, there's sort of a catch-22 in that, because you think, that sucks. But then there's also the bright side, which is the body knows how to heal, and it can change, and it can make improvements. And so as I've worked with changing a lot of variables in my life, my brain has gotten well. But let's talk about what it feels like to be depressed. I have experienced the range of kind of a low-grade depression to full-on suicidal depression. And I've learned that actually for a lot of people, our depression is cyclic, meaning it will taper off, calm down, and then it'll hit kind of this raging bout of intensity. And that's how mine look. And that might not even happen in a few days or weeks or even months. That could be, you could go a few years of feeling minorly depressed to then going into a space where you're in an intense level of depression. And so the brain is firing different signals or not working. It's either overactive or underactive. And again, Dr. Amen's, who I recommend you learn about that from, I went through those cycles. And there could be long periods of time from the minor to the severe depression, which became suicidal. One of the key factors in what it feels like is a state of hopelessness, a lack of motivation, a sense of gloom, feeling it you're in a dark hole. And when you start to feel better and you heal your brain, when you have a distinct ability now to know the difference. And that's what was fascinating for me. I started to get well, and then I stopped several of my protocols because I thought, I'm better. I don't need to keep doing some of these things. And I tanked. And it was a huge, what I call in the world of energy healing, we call this body learning. I had to have a body level experience to get the lesson. And what I learned was all those protocols need to become lifestyles so that I don't slip again into these dire states of depression. And I was able to measure the difference and go, oh, I know what it feels like now to feel well and feel depressed. Let's go over 7 key things you might be feeling that depression really creates in your day-to-day life. The first one is there's no pleasure or joy in life. You put on your smile, you try and respond in a happy way, you want to be happy for others, but you're not feeling it. You're not feeling that overall happiness. And when your brain's working well, you feel happy for no reason. And I know that difference now, where I'll just feel a gleefulness, an uplifting quality of happiness without necessarily a reference to anything. And it's such a pleasure. Now, when I was in that, there's no pleasure or joy in life. The one thing you don't realize is if you've lived through years of depression, my doctor told me that he felt very much that it went back to my early childhood, that I had grown up with a experience of being depressed, that my brain, because I was in a traumatic environment as a child, I didn't have the capacity to have my brain develop properly. This had become my reference to well-being, that this compromise was normal. Then you learn all these coping skills to make up the difference. And so those coping skills keep you from really seeing that you have a brain health issue, because you're able to make up that difference. So you're able to put that smile on your face. You're able to muster up that ability to try and be happy. You're coping at that point now, where it's not a natural juice flowing through you. The second point that might be a reference to if you're dealing with depression is it's really hard to concentrate and focus and really get engaged in something. You just kind of get by. And again, if you have a coping mechanism for that, you'll dig deep and you'll exert yourself, have to overexert yourself to show up in that ability to focus and concentrate. The third one, everything feels hopeless. And that kind of has it sort of like, everything feels a little crummy to boom, deep dive into hopelessness. What's the point? It doesn't matter. And why am I, you want to give up. You just don't even want to keep trying to show up and make it better. But again, your coping mechanism may be to override that and get yourself going. Maybe you go out and exercise to get those endorphins going, and it makes up the difference because you know how to cope. I know I did. That was a huge revelation for me to realize I had massive coping skills to counter this, which kept me from really addressing it and healing it. The fifth item, number 4, self-esteem can be absent. You feel a sense of a lack of value. You're not motivated for your own, you don't necessarily want to get well because you care about yourself enough. I know in the early days of my marriage, when my children were young, I was dealing with suicidal depression when I was about 29 years old. And I remember distinctly not being motivated to get well or make my life better for my benefit, but I did for my 4 children. I was motivated by that, but my own sense of esteem for my own value wasn't there. Number 5, a lack of motivation. It can be really hard to get up and get out of bed. You drag in the morning. That's where I still have a little bit of that I have to, that I notice and say, okay, get moving. It's really important for me to exercise in the morning to get the blood running and blood in my brain, because I'll feel that sort of fogginess, lack of ability to focus. If I lay around in my bed, I could easily slip into just wanting to hang out there. And so I have a phrase that I use. I wake up, I get up, I show up. I wake up, I get up, I show up. That's my mantra in the morning. I follow it. It gets me moving and I don't slip into these. So that's not really coping. See, that is a skill that I've learned to say, I know my vulnerabilities and I need to be mindful of them so that I am preventing rather than overriding. Big difference. Number 6, you might be using food for comfort or escaping. Because if you can worry about your weight, worry about, your mind gets fixated on I ate too much, it is a relief for you a little bit. You get to think about something else rather than to be in this demise of depression. And so you'll use food as a way to sidetrack yourself. And number 7, And this was true for me as well, because the brain's not working well, your pain centers can get overactive as well. And so as I was dealing with some physical issues and pain, I had a lot of issues with plantar fasciitis. I have a great video on here that you can refer to on how I healed that. But it became really magnified because my brain was just not well. And as I've healed my depression through the years, my body has taken on a new level of fitness and wellness because the signals are registering correctly that you actually feel fine. The pain centers aren't so aggravated. Oh, it's so much to consider, but I want to help you get well. So what we're going to do right now is watch a 2-minute clip from my clearing session for depression that is a part of your Carol Tuttle Healing Center online membership. This is just one of over 120 resources in my online community of audios, videos, and all the materials and resources you need to help you heal your life. I've had many, many people use this clearing and they report great success from it. It is part of a larger healing plan called the Healing Plan for Depression. The thing is, you'll make depression a lifestyle. It becomes your culture. We get settled into it, the way we think, our paradigm, our worldview of ourselves, our worldview of the world outside of us, our point of view of ourselves. It becomes a lifestyle. And we have to catch that, and we have to start retraining our thinking mind. We have to release deeply held emotions that maybe is feeding the depression and keeping the brain from getting well. So let's watch this clearing, and then we're going to come back here, and I'm going to do some reframes with you to set the energy into a positive motion. Oh, tap along or listen, whatever level of, if you understand tapping, go ahead and tap along with me while you're watching this. I also have a video on what is tapping to teach you more about this self-applied healing technique. Depression is often a generational pattern. There are many resources available to support you in healing your depression. Use this clearing session as one of those resources. Repeat this affirmation after me. I am healing my depression. I deserve to feel good all of the time. While tapping, repeat after me. Even though I have felt depressed and sad, I completely love and accept myself. Even though I feel like this depression may never go away, I love and accept myself. Releasing hopeless, helpless, not wanting to be here, giving up. Who cares? Not wanting to deal with this. Exhaustion, deep grief, sad. I don't deserve this. Let down, disappointed. Releasing the lies and illusions I keep telling myself. Releasing, rather die than go on dealing with this. Sad, denial. Depression does get me attention from others. Depression lets me escape. Depression lets me avoid. Releasing it from every cell in the body. Letting go of, I'm used to feeling this way. Don't know how to be happy. It's too much work. What am I doing wrong? Insecure. Broke down. Pity. Poor me. Anger. Too hard. Let it all go. Releasing. Why try and heal? It'll never go away. All or nothing. Give up now. Release it on all levels and layers for all generations. That was awesome. So take a deep inhale and exhale. Keep tapping right here. These are your K27 points. And repeat after me. I am healing. I am well. I am happy. I am depression free. I'm remembering when I had depression. I am attracting that which will help me heal this compromise. I'm showing up. I wake up. I get up. I show up. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Which of those statements stood out for you? As you can see, you get a certain state of mind. When your brain's not working correctly, you tell yourselves a lot of falsehoods that feel like truths. And that's why it's so important to re-script this. Get new neural pathways firing to believe in a better life for yourself. I'm Carol Tuttle. I have a phenomenal resource for you. You can heal depression. I've had years of depression. I am healed, and I want to help you do the same. Go take my basics guide, the Energy Healing Basics Guide. There's some great resources in this free basics guide, a fabulous glossary if you're new to energy healing, and you can learn what the terminology means. But I'm going to take you through some more clearing sessions, and then you can sign up for your free 2-week trial. Use the whole clearing for depression. The beautiful thing about being a healing center member is you can just turn this on at any time. Even when you're doing a chore around the house, you can just let this run and you're going to shift. Things are going to change for you because ultimately your mind, your body wants to heal. Wellness is what we're programmed for. You have to support the capacity for that, though, the potential for that. There's so much you can do to get well. Don't just think there's resources outside of you. As you show up and allow that healing potential to come alive in you, you will not only activate healing powers that will support you in achieving wellness, but you will then, because you're putting out this energy of intent to be well, you'll attract that from external resources that will support that. And it compounds and grows and multiplies for your benefit. Go to healwithcarol.com. How has this video helped you? I want to help you heal depression. How long have you been dealing with it? What do you want when it comes to healing depression? If you didn't have it, what would you feel like? What would it be like to be depression-free? Share that in a comment.